I did want to talk about the Hawaii hip hop scene and the music scene and whatnot. What your place is and what your thoughts are on the current state.
It's interesting. Like for me, like as far as like my place in the scene, I think I was having a conversation with Chris Styles. It's like I don't have like I don't have a urgency to like be the guy or the best. My thing is I feel like where I'm at now, I feel like I have, and Chris Styles agreed with me too, is that we have like this responsibility to keep the integrity high, keep the bar high. You know what I mean? And not to so much like blow whistles, but like to maybe pull some artists to the side and like talk story, maybe guide them a little bit. Because you know, like in these conversations too. Shout out to my brother Chris Styles, man. That's
Chris Styles, man.
That is my brother.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
Outside of music, he's one of my best friends. You know what I mean? But I think it's just our responsibility to pull some artists to the side who maybe need some guidance. Because Chris Styles and I, Chris, we had this conversation. We have not always made the best moves. You know what I mean? But we had to go through that in order to be where we're at today. You know what I mean? So I think nowadays, I think that's where I feel like where I'm most important. Because I've been through a lot. I've done a lot. So I see a lot of new talent that needs the guidance. Before, if you asked me that question 10, 12 years before, I was like, man, I'm gonna be the trailblazer. I'm trying to blaze trails like how Sudden Rush did, how Tiki did, how everybody like Jai Tech, everybody who's before me. I'm trying to be like the leader of the new school. And now I think I've had I've blazed a trail, like you said, my own trail. So whoever wants to be on that trail, you know what I mean? Like if you want guidance, my phone is always open to any other young new artists coming out, you know what I mean? And I think that's how these movements work, I think I owe a lot of that to like being close to a lot of artists from the Bay Area, you know what I mean? And them doing that same thing where they're from. I know there's a lot of competitive, it's always gonna be competitive, but in order for like the scene to thrive, we also gotta extend the olive branch. You know what I mean? And also hype up. Like you see, E40, I mean, he's always doing something with the new cats. Yeah. He's always shouting them out. You know what I mean? And then the love is reciprocated. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And as approaching middle age, we definitely need.
We just priming out, man. We priming out.
No, I do feel that too, man. And I don't think you're ever gonna stop creating music. Yeah. And it's like to give guidance to the younger ones is really like passing the torch. But I feel like we don't ever let go of the torch.
Yeah, And I think that's what the problem was before. When I was a young cat coming up, I think nobody really knew how to pass the torch, and it was still competitive where they didn't want to give the new cats love. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I love seeing that you're giving new cats love. I do want to talk about "Love on This Beach" by Jordan T.
Hey, yo,
because I think that my two favorite songs of yours is "Zubland" and "Love on This Beach." And I remember when "Love on This Beach" came out, I was like, yo, Jordan T, this boy can sing.
Yep.
And I think that actually boosted his career a lot too, that song.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think he was kind of at the beginning where not everyone knew his name, but after that song, I felt like a lot more people knew his name. And actually a lot more people knew your name because it came out at a time where I was like, yo, local boys, let me just give you a little tip. If you ever trying to seal the deal, throw this song on because
that's the one, man.
It's
that's
sensual.
The one.
It has local references.
Yep.
Your rap is smooth in it. You know what I'm saying? And then the hook is dope. Let's talk about songwriting real quick.
Okay.
So what's your process like?
Before like coming up, it was just like I could write bars for days. Just write anything. Just go. I can make songs and concepts. I mean, I just remember making hooks so fast. Taking like a local slang, I'm gonna flip that, But now, where I'm at now I'm in a place where everything I say is magnified, is important because I have a brand. I actually am somebody who people listen to. So a lot of times now, it's more of a careful process. A lot of times I'll be driving in the car and just like freestyling, and then pull over and write stuff and. Yeah, man, it's a much longer process now, and I don't do so much just writing on demand. If I write when the pen works, if that makes sense. If the pen is agreeing with me that day, then I let the universe or God's blessing I'll let it run through and I'll keep writing. But once the idea stops, I stop. I kind of just follow that momentum nowadays.
Okay.
You know, even like I've had some beats for like 3 years, but then I'll pop something in one day just to go. Like every day, I'm always listening to beats. You know, whether especially if I'm on a longer drive, if I go to town, and I'll just play through stuff because sometimes just stuff pops in my head. You know, and I don't like I said, I don't do so much writing on the spot nowadays. It's just I don't know if it's because where I'm at in life. It's just it doesn't flow like that for me.
Well, you got a lot of different responsibilities as you get older.
Oh yeah.
Kids,
yes,
right?
Yes,
your job,
yes.
your vocation.
You know, it was funny, man. Some of my like songs recently came from inspiration from my kids.
Really?
Yeah, like them saying stuff.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know. Do you know my Uncle George?
George
Salud.
George Salud. No, I don't think so.
He's one of my dad's younger brothers.
Okay.
But he was the one who actually, shout out to Uncle George. He was the one that actually, it was the inspiration behind my song, Yeah, You.
Oh, Yeah, You. That's another jam too.
I mean, he was like, he says that religiously. Everything is Yeah, You. Oh, Yeah, You. Yeah, You. Yeah, You.
One of those brothers.
He's just the uncle, Yeah, You.
Yeah.
And like, that's, shout out to Uncle George, man. I mean, that's one of my bigger songs of recent, the recent part of the journey. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm like, sometimes that's where it comes from. It's just everyday life.
Well, as an artist, and especially as you mature with your art, inspiration comes in many forms.
Oh yeah,
and at all different types of times.
I mean, I'm not as much of a freestyle like my man Ty. You know what I mean? Because the way you and K get together. Shout out to K Love. When you guys freestyle, it's like butter. You know what I mean? It's just like hot butter. Just the way you guys go at it. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Well, I mean, we both on the same freeway in different lanes. You know what I mean?
I like that.
But for me, one thing that I do admire. Okay, so you had a show at Valor.
Okay.
Right, and I think was Johnny Sweet there.
It was. So I was with Nuff Said.
Okay. Nuff Said.
Yes.
Nuff Said. As I was watching it, and I was watching you go through your set list, I was like, how does this man remember all his lyrics?
Oh man, you know what? It's not about remembering the lyrics. It's about when you forget your lyrics, you don't stop. You keep going. It's about being able to freestyle, and flip something to keep going. Because I actually, shout out to Josh Kahula, lead singer of Nuff Said. Shout out to Josh Kahula. He's the one who invited me. I'm actually have a song with Nuff Said.
Okay.
And he invited me up, and I messed up on my verse for the song I have with them, and I just kept rolling, didn't stop.
And nobody knew.
Nobody knew because you could see his smile. He knew. But I just rolled with it and do what us MCs do and just freestyle and connect with the crowd.
Well, you definitely have a gift, man. Because I always thought about that too. Like having a set with like 3 songs, and I was like, literally, man, I think I only remember like 4 or 5 of my verses. I have hundreds.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I do it more to release and create.
Yeah.
But not necessarily to package and perform it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're just different type of artists with mutual respect.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Has anyone ever doubted you?
Oh, yes. All the time. Ever since the beginning. It was much worse before. I mean, when we present, it's funny. I don't know if this is the universe or God working, because I was actually gonna go into something with you and your brother, but we'll get into that. But the doubt has been crazy ever since the beginning. Rapping, rapping in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And that's from everybody, local people, mainland people. I mean, if you go to my early videos on YouTube, I don't want to say hate comments. It's just people like didn't know, didn't understand. And I think for me, there's 2 things. It was like we talked about earlier. I got to experience the culture of different places and local artists in those regions, and how they connect to the people. So I understood it.
Yes.
So I think it was a way of too ahead of people here in Hawaii to understand. It was just too ahead of its time. It wasn't ready yet.
Yes.
But I mean, I had to go through that. I had to go to that, conviction and to convince people. But it also helped me. I don't want to say the hate, but like the negative energy kind of helped me figure out, okay, what works? What do you guys want to hear from a MC from Hawaii? You know what I mean?
In a case where it could discourage the artist, and I think a lot of them fall off or they wither away because the hate is really strong.
Oh yeah,
especially on social media. With comments and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
it's crazy. I see and I remember before I would read the comments, but it didn't bother me. But the ones I didn't like is that like people like threatening. So if you're gonna threaten me, like say, oh, this guy's a scrub, but if I ever see you, I'm gonna knock you out. You know what I mean? And there's only been a few. I don't mind. You could say my music is whack. This is corny. You know, bring all that because for me that's corrective criticism. Okay, so let me figure out what connects with you guys. You know what I mean? How can I represent us and not let it be corny? You know what I mean? How can I resonate? There was a one occasion, and I'm not a person. I'm not a confrontational person. I don't go looking. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. But it's funny because there was, and I want to use this story to share with the other artists, up and coming artists, because maybe you might come across this, to where somebody was actually like threatening me that they saw me out in public, and I'm not that kind of guy. You know what I mean? I don't want to like say this to like show and prove anything, but I offered, hey, I told him straight up, I was like, I'm out with my family a lot, so let's take care of this now. I'll meet you wherever you want to meet me.
Nice.
So and it just so happens it was in Salud, Nanakuli.
What? The hometown.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. So my brother-in-law Solo lives in Nanakuli, and I went up to his house. I went in the backyard. I was like, okay, let's meet at the park. Yeah. So I was right there. I showed a video of where I was at, and the guy never showed up. He blocked me from his social media. But I say that, now I think about it now, because you never know if this guy had a gun or a knife or whatever. But for me, I was like, if you're gonna threaten me, you're gonna physically do something to me, let's just handle it now as men. You know what I mean? Because that's my perspective. Yes. But not everybody thinks like that. Yeah. Now I'm thinking about like maybe that's a dumb idea because I don't know if brother, had a gun or a knife. You know what I mean? But I say that now and here on this platform, to the younger artists, man, you just gotta let it go. Let it go, because there's so much more big things that you're working toward. You know what I mean? And like a lot of the comments and the stuff like that, the hate comments or whatever the case may be, use it as motivation and look at it as like, okay, you don't like that. Let me figure out a way to help you engage with my content or my music or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Damn, thank you for that advice. I think that'll be helpful.
It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
It's not. And I once heard something that, somebody said, on your way up, when you're grinding, don't take criticism from somebody that you wouldn't ask advice from.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then like, don't allow, other people's shortcomings to hinder your success. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I actually started getting some comments. I had one the other day that literally just said, fuck you.
That's crazy.
And I was like,
yeah. It's simple. It's very simple. It's that, it's been said so many times, hurt people. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know where you're at in your life or whoever it was that said it to you, but hey man, I wish you the best. You know what I mean? You just gotta sidestep and keep going. And that the second thing that I was gonna say, toward this topic was, I was raised by a world champion. I was in the gym and I got to see somebody go through major ups and downs and setbacks, and like his may be different from music, but like there were so many setbacks as promise fights taken away, world title taken away. So I just saw my dad pivot and figure out a way to make it happen. You know what I mean? Just make it happen. Just make no excuses, no grumbling, no crying, just make it happen. So for me with the music was like, okay, it's subjective, it's not for everybody. You know what I mean? Just because somebody likes this person better doesn't mean that they just like this person better. You know what I mean? That's what I thought in the early days of Hawaii hip hop for me was I saw a lot of guys getting competitive with each other. Like, oh, he's whack. Why you like him for? You know what I mean? Well, your music is not for everybody. You know what I mean? And if you want to, be attractive to, to what he's doing, maybe whatever, change your music. Yeah. And that goes back to the comments. I mean, like, if somebody doesn't like the way what you say or like your music, it's not the end all be all. You know what I mean? And even if KRS-One said you're whack, well, my music is not for you, KRS-One. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's for the Hawaii people or whatever the case may be. I just think that people need to artists need to look at it a different way it's more so of like grooming you, training you. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Take everything and turn it into positive. You know, that's kind of like one of my dad's mantras. You know what I mean?
I've always kind of felt that about you too, though. Your outlook, your energy, your aura, the way you walk around. It doesn't seem like you allow the small things to hold you back.
You can't, man. Right? You can't. If you're on this journey, especially in art.
Yeah. So, you know, with art, how important is it for people to find something they're passionate about and express themselves creatively?
You know, I think it's everybody. I guess you could say like everybody needs a hobby or like have something that they're passionate about. I mean, sometimes it's not even the art, but like for people who are in the art, whether it be music, fashion, photography, video. I mean, I think it's just a getaway from reality for us, right? You know, so I think being creative, being expressive, kind of like it adds like years to your life. You know what I mean? Because like now you're a part of your own movie. You're creating something that you want people to see of you, or maybe like not people creating something that people never knew about you. I guess, you know.
I like doing it because it allows it's almost like seasoning for my life. You know, when we fall into that routine, that monotonous clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go home, eat, sleep, wake up, do the same thing, right? Expressing myself creatively, whether it's drawing, whether it's music, whether it's preparing for a podcast, whether it's watching podcasts, it's like just a creation. It gives my life more color, more warmth, and I feel like more inspiration to live longer. So when you said adding years onto your life, like, bro, that's exactly what creativity does for me. But you also do have a full-time job.
Yep.
Are you a stevedore?
I won't specifically say it, but you know, I work with the shipping industry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's always been a lot of mystery with that. We don't have to get into it. You know what I mean?
Let's just say, because it actually ties into what you just said. Let's just say, you know, in the beginning of my music career, I worked. I mean, you saw me. I worked I worked in Marriott. I worked Aloha Team Security for Colina, and I worked the radio station. So at one time I had about 3 jobs plus music, you know, and that was just so I could keep doing music, but my family was taken care of. You know, I worked overtime, everything I could do, you know, running on 2 hours of sleep, whatever the case may be, going from Colina to the radio station and back. A lot of people don't know I was on air at 102.7 The Bomb in my career, early in my career. But yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to be put in a situation where I could have a good personal career as far as job-wise here, and I could do my music as a passion here with no added pressure. It's just strictly passion. Whatever it makes from it, my music it takes care of itself. And that's really what I wanted. I didn't want music to dictate my life as far as like expenses or like, you know what I mean, taking care of my life. Because I've been around so many artists. I see because, you know, we, like you said, music is our passion first. Like we get into music most times because we love music, to make music. But then when it becomes a career and now you have to like use this to pay for your life, it's different. You know what I mean? It's stressful. It doesn't come as you don't enjoy it as much. Yeah. So for me, I mean, and this is just for me, I wanted to have a career on the side where music wasn't I didn't have to depend on music to live. Yeah. You know, what do you say? I don't want to depend on music to live.
Understood.
So it can continue to be my passion as long as it takes care of itself. All the expenses, like, you know, whatever I make from music, merch, TV, movies, it goes here and takes care of all that here. And then my other job, career, takes care of my family and everything. I don't have to worry about putting this here, you know, so I can continue to do music and be creative and not have any of the stress of having, you know, to use that to pay for my bills.
Well, I like that you know how to separate the things in your life so that you can live the type of life that you want. Yes. I do want to touch on...
So it's about being happy, you know? You got to figure out what makks you happy.
It is.
And there was a point where I wanted the music to be the breadwinner, but it started to not make me happy, you know? I started getting too stressed out.
It became a job.
Yeah.